Hi guys, and welcome to the best and worst of the Daytona 660 accessories. I fitted everything to this bike, well, bar alarms and stuff like that, but every other extra I fitted. And I'm going to tell you what I think of them, what I think you must have, what I think is good value, and what I'd say, yeah, give it a miss. So let's start off. Absolute must. Well, it's got to be the tank protector. I'm amazed how many dealers are letting their bikes go away without that tank protector at the front. Because there's a decent reach to the bars, you're kind of pushed into that tank a bit. Yeah, all right, you just said my stomach didn't help matters. That's true. But I'd still have that tank protector and the other absolute necessity, pair of bobbins on the rear so you can lube that chain. So to me, there's only two items that are an absolute must, and I'd buy them with the bike if I was buying it again straight out the dealers. The best Bling award, yeah, definitely. So for me, the best Bling award, and I'm surprised myself, are the scrolling indicators. I absolutely love them. I really thought they were going to be like just real nonce, but they're not. No, I absolutely love them. They look great. They look great front and back, and I'd buy them again. Definitely buy them again. I got two other items in the best Bling award. The second item is the rear reservoir. I absolutely love the look of that. I think that's really good looking. It just gives it a really nice finish there. And my third Bling award, the rear seat cowl. Look, if you're going to use this bike to flute around on a Saturday or a Sunday, the odd day trip, that finishes off the rear end of the bike really nicely, I think. Let's go best high value item. This is an easy one. Definitely the quick shifter. I'd go for that. Out of all the high value accessories you can get, the quick shifter would be first on my list. And with my Captain Sensible head on, the second premium choice would be the tire pressure monitors. That's it on the high end. For those of you of a nervous disposition, I would say these engine and frame guards are nice. They look great, they integrate nicely. The frame guards particularly look quite flash. But you know, we've lived a long time without this stuff. When I have a Daytona 1200 there, that's over 30 years old, and that's never had these sort of guards. So to me, this is the category. That's a personal choice. All of them, I think, perfectly good stuff. But whether you think, you know, they're not an absolute necessity, but they might be something you'd like. The am I bothered category, it's probably got to be the front fork protectors. Yeah. And it's not particularly a Triumph thing. I just think they're a bit naff on any bike, really. I just can't see. Look, if you're going to throw this thing down the road, that's the last thing you're going to be worried about. Because I'd be surprised if the gravel or the tarmac or anything came anywhere near the bottom of those forks. So I know, I'll leave those. Most practical items, well, I'm going to go for the pillion grab handles. If you're going to take a pillion, your pillion will thank you for them. And I actually think they look quite nice. I'm unlikely to ever have a pillion on this bike, to be perfectly honest. But I think the pillion grab handles bulk out the rear end of this bike a bit and make it look a bit more substantial. So I quite like it from a styling point of view. Obviously, along with the seat cowl, maybe not so much, but I don't know, not too bad. You can have both. They don't look too bad. So most practical, pillion grab handles. And under here, the USB port. That's the most practical as well. And you know, the USB port's a very low value item. Why wouldn't you get it? And it's something you can fit yourself dead easy. So I'd definitely go for that for the most practical. Before I get to the worst high value item, I'm going to do, that's a personal choice. Like perfectly good stuff, but whether you need it or not is up to you. Like heated grips. They installed very easily. They work very nicely. You get integration with the dash. There's a nice button on the grips themselves, so you're not fluting around through menus and stuff trying to switch them on. But you just may or may not need them. If you're a summer rider and you go out for your Saturday, Sunday blast, and that's about as much as you do with your motorbiking, you're probably not going to need the heated grips. Comfort seat, again, that's something, if you're into doing high mileage days, then I would consider the comfort seat. But as I mentioned in the main video on the seat, the main seat's perfectly normal anyway. So again, if you're a bit of a summer daytime rider, I don't think it's an absolute necessity, but it does work. It does provide extra comfort. Luggage. This luggage, the tank bag and the tail bag, they're not huge, but they're proportioned to the bike, and they are high quality, they're GV. So I like them. So, and the reason why they're in that's a personal choice category is, well, do you need it? Perhaps some people are going to buy one or the other. or, you know, look, I have a Motec tailbag, much bigger, and it doesn't look out of place on that, and it's expandable, and it fits very nicely on the back of the Daytona. But this is branded. It is more in proportion with the bike, and a bit more integrated with the way it goes on. So horses for courses, it's nice. If these are great for a day out, you know, you can just put, you know, a pair of gloves in there, a tire puncture kit or something like that, a few bits and bobs. So I do like them, but it's that whether you need them or not. And the last items in That's a Personal Choice is the oil filler cap and the dipstick cap. They're both kind of low value items. The oil filler cap, a little bit of bling really as well. The dipstick, well, maybe not bother. You don't really even see it. It's so buried away you don't really see it. But it is a low value item, so I got it. So there it is. As I say though, they are drilled. So if you need to wire them because you're going on a circuit and stuff, they might do you for that. But I can't see many people doing track days on this bike. So that's it. That's my complete rundown. Oh no, I've forgotten. The worst high value item. Right, it's definitely 100%, you might have already guessed this, is the My Triumph Connect. It does what it says on the tin. There's no false advertising there. The maps do use Google Maps. I'm doing a trip around the Dolomites next week, and I found my 4 hotels within minutes on the My Triumph app to put them in as destinations and everything like that. And I tried the same thing on BMW's version with their app, and I couldn't find any of the hotels, none of them, on their map. And I had the maps downloaded for, you know, Italy and Austria and Slovenia and all that sort of stuff. It just couldn't find the hotels. Like, a navigation is only as good as the bloody map you can use to find the places you want to go in the first place. Now, I could have, you know, designed the map offline and created a route offline and all that sort of stuff and import the GPX file. But on the Triumph app, I could just find the hotels there and then because it was Google Maps. Having said all that, it's a tiny screen on this. It's really expensive. It doesn't add any more functionality than you already had between your headset and your phone and your music and all that sort of stuff. It's replacing all stuff you had off pat anyway. There was no reason to buy it. And you just wouldn't buy it for the nav because you can't get a map and it's a tiny screen and it's turn by turn. So it's an awful lot of money for a turn by turn system, even though it is using a great map system. So I would bypass that completely. I just wouldn't buy it. Well, I wouldn't buy it for any of the Triumph bikes with these type of screens anyway. So I finished on a negative note there. On the positive side, it's not an accessory, but that bloody engine is fantastic. I've seen a good few reviews now, people sort of going meh, about the Daytona 660, but they're pootling along 4,000 or 5,000 RPM and stuff. And one even mentioned that he thought the engine was a bit lackluster compared to the Trident. It's absolutely not. I rode this and a Trident back to back when this was in for its first service. You just got to rev this bike. Nobody doing test drives seems to be revving the shit out of this thing. Get up past 5, 6. I'm not saying there's a big power band. I'm just saying the power in this thing goes all the way up the rev range, and it keeps pulling all the way up the rev range. And people seem to be test driving this, pootling around country roads, you know, doing sort of 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. There's so much more that this engine gives. So that's my accessories rundown. That's the end of that series about all these bits and bobs for this bike. Might I do something with suspension at some stage? I don't know. I might do. I might see what's out there. I might see if there's anything I can get for these forks. I think there might be. Maybe a cartridge, change your damping. Although I quite like the damping on this. I actually do. It's better than the Trident on a rough road. So I don't want to muck up a good thing, but if I can see something out there that's really nice, possibly, maybe would I get a Wilbur shock on the rear? Yeah, don't know. Thing is, the collar is going to be so hidden away for the preload. You'd have to get a remote preload. So a Wilbur shock with remote preload, it's going to cost me about $1,000 or something like that. I'm not too sure whether that's a good investment for a low value bike, really. You know, if I was doing 10,000 miles a year on it, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd do it, but I don't know. So that's it. If I'm Captain Sensible, the best thing I added to this was the tire pressure monitoring. If I'm all about fun, the best thing I added to this, definitely the quick shifter. It adds an whole new dimension. That's it. Over. Done. Cheers.